the bike and I give you some good ride. So baby girl, I'm gonna get you undressed.
Casualty 911, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with the consultant. Health is not merely the absence of diseases. It is your social, economic, physical, spiritual, and mental well-being. Just imagine you on 88.5 Super FM, talking, questioning, sharing your experience, information, education, entertainment, news, instructions, advice on diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes, menopause, AIDS, pregnancy, sex.
Sex? Did you say sex?
As prescribed, take your medication, exercise, and diet. On 88.5 Super FM, tell a friend, call your neighbor. Casualty 911.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of Casualty 911 on 88.5 Super FM. I am your host today, Fawn Minvia. He's none other than Mr. Caleb Paul. It's not his first time around. Caleb, you're almost like a regular. Can I call you a regular?
You could say.
So Caleb is a regular on the program, and today he will be talking about something that I think might be of interest to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about alcohol. Can you imagine that we will be talking about alcohol on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock? Some of you may not have recovered from the weekend's alcohol consumption. Mm-hmm. Some of you may have taken some this morning as a bit of a coffee wake up. And some of you may be thinking about getting some later this afternoon after work. But today Caleb is here to talk to us not about benefits of alcohol, which quite frankly there are none. Yeah, no. There are none. Mm-hmm. So Caleb will be talking about World No Alcohol Day coming up this week. World No Alcohol Day. He will be looking at some of the repercussions, the not so good things that happen when there's an excessive use of alcohol, how it affects us as a nation, how it affects families, how it affects us economically, our family life, and also the impact on our values and so on. So Caleb, welcome again. It's always a pleasure to have you. I have not seen you in a little while, so it's nice to have you in studio with us this morning. Yeah. So feel free. And as usual, I will be putting in my little 2 cents and asking a few questions and so on. And we welcome all of your questions and comments via the live stream. So please feel free to send in your questions and your comments this morning. So Caleb, World No Alcohol Day is coming up.
Yes.
So let's start off with the theme.
Sure, yes.
And what it's all about.
Let me just thank you and the radio station for having us, the Substance Abuse Advisory Council Secretariat. I believe my colleagues are listening, so we want to welcome them as well. And we are happy that they are here this morning. This is the second year that we are observing World No Alcohol Day. We started last year. We saw it fitting to, increase the awareness as it pertains to, as you said earlier, the excessive use of alcohol here in St. Lucia. And the theme this year would be Enjoy Life More. Enjoy life more. And our hope is to promote health, protect families, and build stronger communities. We want to show persons that there are alternatives to excessive alcohol use, and these alternatives we have all around us. We have our family members that we, can enjoy time with without being so intoxicated that sometimes it reaches to a point of a Harley Casse or something like that. We know what alcohol is. Alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol as if wakes up the fears of everyone. Depresses their fears. So now, if somebody had something to tell you within your family after drinking one or two, they get the courage, as if it is.
So as they like to say,
Kuwai, yes. So that's how it operates, and if we are honest, it has been one of the factors that has disrupted a lot of those important relationships, and we want to highlight the importance of making memories, deep memories without alcohol being involved in there. Spending time with our families and so on. I mean, these days we see how quickly somebody can be here with us and tomorrow,
and sometimes that is alcohol is a factor in their demise, their early demise, because the complications that arise from the excessive use over an extended period of time, along with other factors. So sometimes it makes a health situation, a little worse or a little more difficult to manage.
Yes, and as you were saying, Fawn, and that's a good way to transition into the fact that even us as St. Lucians, we already have what we call an NCD burden in terms of these diseases that, I'm not sure the percentage, but majority of our population suffer with either diabetes, hypertension, cancers, and the link has been made with alcohol use, that it is one of the leading risk factors to developing those diseases after some time. So on a global scale, 3 million deaths annually as it pertains to alcohol contributing to these diseases. And in St. Lucia, we see the link, as we said, with our non-communicable diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and cancer, road traffic accidents.
Most definitely.
And injuries.
Although, some people will say to you that there's no evidence of alcohol being a significant factor in terms of all those accidents, road vehicular collisions we are having, because I personally don't like to call them accidents, because they're collisions that happen, not because, something just slightly went wrong. Right. You deliberately put yourself in certain situations. That's true. In as much as we have no evidence per se, I mean, we see observation. We see people getting into vehicles after they have had quite a few drinks. We hear people talking about, the escapades after, and they speak about it with so much pride. Right. Just recently I was talking to some young people, and there were some young guys. Sad to say, those young boys, they are not even adults yet, and talking about the escapades, driving under the influence. So, if we really keep our ears to the ground, we know that there's a lot of that happening. There are a lot of things happening that are related to alcohol. But there's something you mentioned at the very beginning about making memories and family gatherings and so on. And it seems as though in St. Lucia, it's like it is our culture. It's as if you cannot have a gathering without alcohol. And the more you have, the better.
That's a fact. And
So it really is like you have to do a whole mindset change.
True.
That's a lot of behavioral change that has to happen. People have to start thinking about having a good time in a totally different way. They'll
Yes.
tell you, I mean, how can you have a fete and you don't have rum?
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
So what's your response?
Well,
how are you going to have a fete
yeah.
and no rum?
Yeah, our response is, of course, because alcohol is a legal substance. Um, apart from laws pertaining to how it's sold, and that's why programs like yours very important. It has to take each one of us to see, and if we are truly honest, in our work, both you and I, we get to interact with the public a lot, and up to Friday, I was at a particular institution speaking to the workers there, and they were quite honest. I can tell you that they would tell you that you know probably the stress of work would push them to use and all of that. But they will tell you their stories, and you can see the beautiful young ladies will tell you that, man, they were so drunk one time, they end up defecating on themselves, or somebody had to carry them and they were vomiting. And they telling you that it's not something that they're proud of, but as if it has a hold on them that
And
they
it's
cannot
almost part of the
necessarily.
fun, or how
Right.
you?
So that part is not fun, and that's what we want to tell people. That part is not fun. The part where you get into fights and injuries, that's what we were saying. That part is not fun. When you hurt somebody else, that because of your, overindulgence, and we're not telling people, I mean, don't drink alcohol. Although the World Health Organization now is saying that there is no safe level of alcohol use, and we'll get to that. But it's a legal substance. But like everything else, we must be able to control our use of that substance, because at a point now, if we are unable to control it, it does not only affect us, but those around us, those who did not choose to use it. Right, and that's where it becomes not only our problem. So people tell you, but I am the one drinking it, so it's my body, I do what I know. We're saying that it affects the people all around you, and you have to think of that, not when it's too late, that would come to mind. And I'm happy that you brought up the young people, because in a survey that we did in our secondary schools, it asked the young persons, at what age did you first use alcohol? And majority of the students, well, 80% of them said that they have used alcohol at least once in their life. And they said that the age of first use, or the age of introduction to alcohol, was at 10. 10 years.
And interestingly enough, in conversations with young people, sometimes I've noted that there are certain drinks that contain alcohol that they don't consider to be alcohol. So when they tell you they had their first drink at 10, they may be referring to something with a higher alcohol, content than the things like with the 0.5%, because they don't consider it to be alcohol. They consider it to be like juice.
That's true. That's very true. That's what they tell.
So if we have to think about it, it could very well be that they have been consuming earlier. I was at an event sometime a few months ago, and there were those young boys walking around with their bottle in their hand. Those boys are not even teenagers. They're not teenagers yet, walking around with the low percentage alcohol drinks. So maybe if you ask them, they say, no, I don't drink.
And that goes to how availability is.
Yes.
And that's why these talks are important, that we have our population become aware that it's not all well and good. There are still things that we have to work on
It's
as a
like
people.
we have made it acceptable,
Acceptable, yes.
that we say, we as adults will say, oh, Miss Apani,
Yeah.
Sapa 4, say, Mama, sa buesa, that kind of thing. So it's readily available to them at family functions,
Mhm.
at, social gatherings, but there are laws in place.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Laws in place in terms of vending alcohol
Yes.
to minors.
True.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and we still find that young people can go out there with no ID,
Right.
nothing to say that they're an
Mhm.
adult,
Mhm.
and buy alcoholic beverages for their own consumption.
Yes, and that's the gap in um our laws, if I can say that, because uh in countries, and sometimes we compare ourselves to these more developed countries. Um, we can do that because we adopt a lot of things from them. So
We
we can
do.
adopt how strict they are on those things because they know um, the cost it becomes to the country when these things are not controlled, especially at a young age. The age of where our brain is fully developed is between 21 and 25. So all between that time, any introduction to any substance, alcohol, being so accessible as you were saying, it's all around us that it makes or addiction becomes a serious problem. I see somebody in the chat saying that it's when some of them die that they would be able to quit, um, and that's true. That's a fact because of how long it has been in the system, how soon they start. So there was no guard to say, well, wait until you're a certain age. And
Exactly.
that is scientifically proven because persons who wait until that age, uh, if they become addicted, it's not as ingrained as somebody who started
Dead
at a
at a
younger
very
age.
young age.
And think of drinking alcohol. You're probably 30, 40 years and you're already drinking alcohol from 10 to 30 years already. From
And
10.
chances are, if you have started very young, you
Mhm.
would also increase
Yes.
the
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 amount,
amount, and also
the
the type,
strength.
the
Yeah.
strength of the alcohol that you would consume.
Mhm.
So if you started at 10 years old drinking something with 5%,
Mhm.
at 16 and 17 you probably would not be drinking 5%, you'd be drinking the 40%,
True.
because you would want to be part of, you would almost feel as though you're part of an adult world yourself,
Mhm.
and you can drink with them and keep up with them, and there is that pressure to show
Mhm.
that you can hold
Oh,
your drinks.
yeah.
You can hold your drinks. So even though sometimes people find that they are the limit, they know they are the limit. But if you offer the drink, you would take it because you don't want to look soft. You don't want to look like a bois.
Mhm.
So you have to, you have to take it and try to pretend that you
That
are
you're
all
holding it.
right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in doing so, you make yourself, number one, vulnerable
Mhm.
to being taken advantage of,
Yes.
especially if you're out there on your own or you're a very young person.
Mhm.
You put yourself at the advantage of people who may not have the best intentions.
That's very true.
Okay?
And as you were saying that, it's not just the 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 s- the pressure of the society. It's amazing what proves whether I'm a man or a woman.
Exactly.
That's just amazing. But um, it's more of the physiological change that is happening. What is happening in your body, and that's how drugs work. Over the long exposure of any substance, if we do it over and over, our body becomes tolerant to it. So probably when you drunk a few first, you felt good, but now your body is becoming tolerant to it. Your body is probably even expecting it at some point. And when you don't get it, you're starting to feel what we call some withdrawal symptoms. So something pulling you to going to use it. And afterwards, then as the tolerance grows, that's what you were saying. So you used to drink a shandy, now you're graduating, you're getting stronger and stronger. And then you become addicted to it. So now it's addiction. At the point of addiction is you cannot function without it. So it's affecting your day-to-day functioning. It's affecting your work. So as you said, probably Monday today is a holiday for a lot of persons.
Yes.
They probably cannot arrive to work as yet, or they would call in sick. And that contributes now to how productive our businesses are, our country is. So we don't come on Monday and by Wednesday we're looking for the weekend already, planning to drink more. So that's a
It's
cycle.
just a cycle.
So the body will be craving for something stronger, because a shandy or a bright cannot do it for you anymore. You need something stronger to get the same feeling that you got. Not just that, people are mixing those things, and that becomes dangerous anytime you mix any substance. So people are mixing things like rum and Red Bull,
Those energy drinks.
energy drinks. Something like Red Bull or these energy drinks are highly caffeinated substances
and should not even be consumed
on a
by
normal.
yes, but especially by young people. And you find that they I don't know if you've noticed it, that you see young people going off on a tangent a little bit, young people going into supermarkets to buy energy drinks in their uniforms and so on. So that they are not 18 years old.
Yeah.
And walking into an establishment and walking out with their energy drinks, and they should not be consuming energy drinks to begin with.
Right.
And the fact that they would end up mixing it with alcohol, that's a time bomb waiting to happen.
You said it right. Because now you have two different substances, two classes of substances. One is a stimulant, the other one is a depressant. So think of what a stimulant does. It causes your body functions, your heart to beat faster. So that's why you have a boost of energy. Like, you have speed, but alcohol is doing the reverse. Alcohol depresses those things. So think of you doing that every weekend. Think of the pressure that'll place on your heart. And then that's where hypertension and cardiovascular diseases develop in a lot of our young persons, and they cannot see where it's coming from. A lot of it is sudden, because of the constant wear and tear on the body. And we have a big issue in St. Lucia as it pertains to binge drinking.
Oh,
so
definitely.
That is really, so you have not drunk for the week, but you are planning when Friday comes that there's no limit.
You have to finish rum.
Rum. You'll finish rum on Friday, as if that is possible.
As if that is possible. So, or people who tell you they have a crate of beers. In one evening out.
Yeah, and it's
so
like
that is binge drinking, and we don't consider those things as binge drinking. So if you don't mind, Caleb, I really would like you to go a little bit in depth in terms of the dangers of drinking in that manner. Because, I think it's just the Lucian style of drinking, if I could say so. A Lucian style of drinking. Most people would not, or many people would not limit themselves to one drink or two drinks in an outing.
Yeah.
If they're drinking beers, maybe 6, 8 or more. Hard liquor, several drinks, and in a short period of time. So if you could just speak to that.
Yeah. So when we speak about drinking, we have to uh, understand there are different levels of drinking. So there's the point where persons drink heavily. Um, Persons who are into the science of it has categorized men and women and given them a limit. So for a man, it would be 7 standard drinks for the week. Now, when you say that, people will laugh at you. At every occasion,
because that's like
that's
one
like
outing.
So notice that. So 7 per drink per week, and for a woman it's between 4 and 5. Our bodies are different, male and female, and how we process alcohol is different. Alcohol would probably stay more in the fatty tissues of a lady more than a man. Um, so that's why she would probably have to drink less. And just speaking about that, I know, your department fund always, well, not just your department, but the world considers this month, breast cancer awareness month. And just as you said, I think that's
October.
October, yes.
Yes. October.
I think it's a good place to put that in, because as we see the effects of that habit, especially as it pertains to women, alcohol has been proven to be one of the leading causes as it comes to certain cancers, and breast cancer is one of them. So there are 6 types of cancers alcohol is associated with, and that's heavy drinking. So going over the 7, going over the 5 and 4 for the ladies. So anything above that is excessive drinking or heavy drinking, right?
And that
So
is one of the risk factors. And when we talk about cancers, we usually talk about the modifiable and non-modifiable. So those risk factors that we have control over and those that we don't have control over. Those that we don't have control over, there's nothing we can do. But alcohol consumption, drinking an excessive amount of alcohol, being a risk factor for cancer, that is something we have control of. We can control.
We
can control.
We can control. It does not have to reach that point.
Not at all.
So we can avoid it reaching to that point. So the other types of cancers, just by information, would be mouth, throat, our voice box, esophagus, liver, and colon and rectum cancer. And we see now that even now they are seeing things like prostate cancer, stomach ulcers, and pancreatic cancer has an association
there may be
excessive alcohol use. Now, I'm saying excessive, but the research is showing that for women especially, because I want to tie in the breast cancer there, that they are at a higher risk, women who drink at least 1 drink. So we said that's moderate. 1 per day, so 5 per week. They are at or between 7 to 10% developing breast cancer as compared to persons who do not drink. Now there are other factors that genetics and all of that that might come into play,
and other factors that we have control over in terms of our weight.
Yes, right.
To a certain extent, when you decide to have children, whether you breastfeed and all of those things can be considered.
It's a good thing that you said weight, because alcohol is like empty calories. Yeah, so the calories you get in there don't do anything for you.
That's why when you said, it can be deposited in the fatty tissues of women. I know women generally, the makeup is to have less muscle than fat. Less muscle and a little more fat. But when you look at some of the men around us, you have to wonder whether that is changing.
They have a name for them.
And whether the research that talks to how men, the muscle content and so on, whether we may have to look a little closer. I'm just saying,
No, but you're right. You notice where it is stored, right? In
Yes,
the men.
exactly.
In
The abdomen.
right?
Yes.
So yeah, and they call it what? The bare belly.
The bare belly.
So yeah. So just by observation, we can see some of those things. Now, this risk doubles when a woman consumes 2 to 3 drinks a day. So from one is 10%. So between 2 or 3 now it becomes 20% of developing
of
breast
the
cancer.
risk of increasing
Yes.
the risk. So it will
Mhm.
depend on what the baseline risk is. But at the
Yes.
same time, you have to, when you look around you and you listen to people speak, you'd realize that the women, St. Lucian women,
Mhm.
seem to be consuming a lot of alcohol.
That's true.
And some of them in much larger quantities than men.
Mhm.
So
That's
that is a worrying trend, in
Yeah,
terms of the way our alcohol consumption.
Yeah, and I see some questions that I don't know if we
Okay,
can.
so let us go through some of the comments and questions. Thank you, Caleb. So, from Jacqueline, great talk. Miss Minfield, I guess I'm supposed to be proud of you, not round. I know I'm round, but proud of you. You can mold things so well.
Yeah.
Sheldon Lionel is saying it's very difficult to quit.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Very difficult to quit.
But it's
Most
possible.
people quit when they die, he says.
Yeah, that's true. But it's possible. We want to give people, and part of our talk today is to tell persons that help is available. A lot of our people don't know that help is available. We now have, well, it used to be Turning Point, but the services are now integrated into the mental wellness facility. So there's an entire team that is willing and ready to help persons who want to quit. And I think there's another question that speaks about medication in helping persons quitting. There are, and if somebody is interested in that, probably your medical doctor can help you. And these medications come to help you deal with the withdrawal symptoms, because alcohol withdrawal is something very serious. I mean, it actually affects. It can affect your mental health. So I have had experience with certain persons. The alcohol is coming from their system, at the hospital. So I've had a few uncles and so on, family members, and they would tell you that it's as if something is coming behind them. They see they're at the hospital, but they're experiencing these hallucinations, and as if somebody is coming behind them. So it's really the alcohol
So
getting from their system. Yes, you pay. So yeah, they are not. So it starts affecting them mentally, but also
so they need an extra support.
Yeah. Right. So that's where the medications come in, and under the guidance of a doctor, they can help them, deal with those withdrawal symptoms. The other persons, probably something happened in their life, and that was the turning point for them. Some kind of traumatic event, and that was what clicked it for them
to get them
to
quit.
go sober. So everybody is different. Somebody has
some people can quit cold turkey with no assistance, no
right.
additional support. There's a gentleman in my neighborhood. He was a drinker. I remember growing up, I used to hear him all the time up and down the road.
Right.
When he drinks, he's so loud and cursing and so on.
Speaking
and
English.
And some years ago, he just quit.
Wow.
He just quit. He said he just decided that was it for him, and he did not take another drink. He was also a smoker. I'm so proud of him. He was also a smoker, and he just quit same way. cold turkey.
Yeah, and I think these are the strong people.
These are very
These
strong
these are the
people.
strong people who who are so mentally strong that um because it's not easy. We see the side that they're not drinking and so on, but we don't know the what they're fighting, in their quiet
Definitely.
moments, and whatever they rely on for that strength to continue. We want to applaud these persons, and as you said, we have these people all around us who, you know, an event took them to the point to say that's it for me. Probably a visit to the hospital. I had one case of a young man who, he was, I think, in Viewfort area, and he started to get some seizures.
Wow.
Just 30 years old thereabout, and from that, recovering from that, he said, he doesn't want to go back to that point. So he was able to come to speak to me at the wellness center and just, guide him around, guide him with, certain tips and stuff as to how he can, and he's doing well. So,
That's
so,
wonderful.
so some people would need the help.
Yes, some people do need extra help,
extra help.
and it is very difficult because of the way our society is. There's a Lanio Kabawe Shakote. On one street,
stretch, yeah.
you could have 6 rum shops, and you're in that same environment, and
Yeah.
you're trying to avoid drinking. I am sure that is very challenging for anybody who wants to be sober.
Mhm.
So, and sometimes apart from the fact that you have the rum shops everywhere, you also have the people trying to tempt you
Mhm.
because they know you're trying to get away from it, but they still try to test you
Yeah.
to see how serious
And not
you
just
are.
that, Fun, going back to what you said earlier, there are funerals mostly every day. So,
Yes. And that is part of the culture
that's
at
why,
the
as you see,
wake.
the culture, the
Yes.
week. So somebody can just look at where the funeral, look at telemetries and see what funeral is in the area,
And you get free rum. Free.
Or any activity. I'm not sure if it's the politicians have free rum going around too.
Well, I don't know.
I don't
Probably.
know.
Who knows?
But that's what's happening now.
And if that is part of our election culture, that is a good place to start.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, because politicians have a sway on people that the rest of us seem not to have.
Yeah.
So their platform can be used for a lot of good, and I wish they would look into doing those things. I said what I said. Yes, on this Monday morning.
No, you're correct, and I agree with that.
Okay.
Because we all want better for our country. I
Yes,
think we can say
absolutely.
that. And it's those things that we don't so much think they are affecting us that are really affecting us. Because I told you about the 10-year-olds who said they would have. These people will grow and become the persons who will be working.
Or cannot come into work.
Cannot come into work.
Or give you poor quality work.
Yeah, and a big part of our societies, our economic development, and all of those things.
Exactly.
So even to that point, as in terms of national development, we see the cost of healthcare. Persons
and the
are
cost
asking,
of correcting things.
Exactly.
Correcting things. Whereas if you are
Prevent.
proactive and you
Yes.
prevent, you don't have
right. So and people
to
are
deal
asking about those things. And I'm sure there are people who may say, well, we might need a treatment facility in every community, but at what cost?
Exactly.
You understand? At what cost? So and I'm happy where you are going, if we share these messages, we are so concerned and about persons and their well-being, that every avenue we have, we would say, well, this event probably will be smoke free or alcohol free. It's possible. It starts with one. There are persons, very popular persons in our country who do not use alcohol or substances.
Quite a few of the entertainers,
right. So even the entertainers.
entertainers,
So it's not something foreign. It's not something that's not possible. We just have to take the steps now, and I believe the benefits will follow.
And we'll see the benefits.
We will see the
in
benefits.
5-10 years.
We
will begin to see benefits.
And we will see in things like the cost of healthcare. We spoke about the reduction in productivity, but also when it comes to law enforcement, that's a big thing these days. If there are accidents everywhere and all of that, police are called to these scenes, then something else. We see the strain it places on even law
and then because there's a strain, then we say we need more. We need more police officers. We need more and more and more, and that is a cost.
Yeah, and
is a cost.
That some of those things are not sustainable. Let's take persons who have to be on dialysis and those things. That's very costly. I'm not sure if there are enough machines for everybody. The last time I checked, there should be a list of persons
quite a lengthy waiting list.
And while you're waiting, I mean, you still have to leave. So that is the burden it places on us as a people. So I don't think it's time for us to look at it as, well, it's not my problem. It's this person's problem. And I saw somebody asking about, since it's a depressant, in cases, does it have any links to suicide, or does it help to prevent suicidal thoughts? If anything, it would probably push somebody to themselves more. It will not so much depress those kinds of issues. Probably you try to deal with your mental health issues by drinking more. So let's take, for example, you get a go well, somebody, a man has a loved one has left you. A very difficult situation to deal with. And if you turn to alcohol now, you're not helping your depressive. Just for the short period, you might get that little high, but then when you sober up, it comes back to mind. Yeah, so it's also like you medicating yourself to deal with a situation, and we want to present the alternatives to people that
and that's a very that is not a good coping strategy. That is not a good way to deal with stress. No type of stress. You cannot drown your sorrows in alcohol. I mean, traditionally, or anything. Traditionally, you hear people talk about it, and sometimes we even make fun of the fact that people are consuming so much alcohol, and we laugh and so on. But that is not a good way to deal with our issues under any circumstances.
Not at all. I want to use the rest of the time to highlight some of the things that we can do. So things like exercise, we probably downplay that a lot, but that's a good stress. So somebody going to the gym, they are placing themselves in a situation, good stress, and the mind now has to propel the body to deal with the pressure that's placed on it. Now, when you face life's challenges, because your mind is so programmed to, overcome challenges, it would be easier for you now to not rely on something to sedate you, but you would face your challenges head on, because you are training your body and your mind to overcome challenges. It may look simple, like a gym, like
Or
rocking, yeah,
walking, because
exercise.
we don't want people by any means to use the excuse that
They don't
they
have a gym.
cannot
Yeah,
afford a
true.
gym or there's no gym in the area.
Mhm.
Walking is the simplest and most accessible type of exercise,
Yeah,
and we can do it in our
you can
yards,
do it anywhere.
because sometimes the road is a dangerous place to be, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Sometimes with the overgrown verges and so on, it can be a bit challenging, but it's something that we can do in our yards, in our homes,
Mhm.
just to be a little more active.
Active, yeah.
Even incorporating it into some of our daily
Mhm.
activities.
Yeah, and that's true. Um, Things like gardening. We spoke about, you know,
People
the
say it's
connection.
very therapeutic.
Yeah, the connection between the
Yeah.
again, you are placing the body under some level of stress that you're controlling. But what's happening in the end is that you are getting a reward for it. In using any substance, you are supposedly getting a reward, but that's not beneficial. It's almost like you're hijacking your brain's reward system to make you feel that you have done something satisfactory. But when you plant, so you sweat in the sun, you use your muscles, you probably figure out you want to keep it how they call that, organic. So you have to research how you can keep pests and stuff away from yourself. So you engaging your mind. So you problem solving, all of that. And then when you harvest and you are eating something healthy, you're saving money because these same things by massive probably expensive, but you are also gaining in terms of your nutrition. So there are alternatives, and Sufra is a blessed place. Probably you just send your watermelon seeds outside and it grows.
Well,
I don't know, but
I don't know.
so too.
Not in my
Not in
space,
your
not in
area.
my area. No, that is a very challenging
That's a
area
challenge.
to
Okay.
get things going as they should.
Okay,
Uh,
okay, okay. But I mean, generally, solution
yeah.
we can do. We have people. We can have some space where we engage the mind and the body into something that is rewarding.
Now, I find it very interesting. You see, the fact that you started speaking about rewarding,
Mhm.
it also shows how we use alcohol as a reward.
Yes, true.
Because even when we look at that question that we have, don't we get a shot at first communion? So you've been rewarded for going through those how many years of instructions. So you have your party, you get rewarded. You graduate, you get
Mhm,
rewarded
mhm.
with alcohol and so on. So as you said, it's something that we have to really change the way we program our
True.
mind, the
That's what it
mindset.
is. That's what it
In
is.
terms, it's a very interesting take.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it is. It's really because that's where our decisions are made, and every substance affects the mind. That's where judgment, choosing, um, happens. So that's where we can filter. Should I tell phone that, or now alcohol now
Removes the
removes that,
filter.
removes the filter, so I can tell phone anything. And tomorrow I still have to probably come and work with phone, and I cannot look at her. So one time there is a rift because phone will know what's really in my heart and what really came out. So I mean, and we spoke about the driving and so on. That's why it becomes dangerous because it affects your judgment. That's a big thing in terms of operating a vehicle, heavy equipment, all of that.
And I
Um,
think it when people need to understand that it actually does, because people will argue with you that it does not.
okay.
Yeah. So that is why you find sometimes people are so proud and they tell you, I drove from this place to that place, from Viewfort to Castries in 30 minutes,
Mhm.
because they were under the influence. And it's they
proud
feel
of that.
proud. They feel
Oh,
proud
strange
of
thing
that
to be proud of that.
achievement. It's an achievement for them.
Yeah.
So it's really how we think about alcohol, how it affects us. Sometimes we're in denial as to the fact that the effect is not a positive one.
And I think, yeah, that's a good word. And I think we have to deal with that denial. We must say that it's a problem for us. We must reach to the point that we accept it, not just as individuals, but as a nation. It's a problem for us. St. Lucia has one of the highest uh, rates of alcohol consumption in terms of the how much liters of alcohol we
Per
drink.
person.
Yeah. um, and who is before us? Places like Grenada and Barbados. So we at the top three.
With the producers and the
Right.
consumers.
Yeah. That's strange. Huh? But and we have to reach to the point where all of us see that we have a part to play. So for us, government workers, persons probably higher level government than us has to see that steps has to be taken. I'm waiting for somebody to say on the platform that alcohol would be probably more heavily taxed, or or
Caleb,
they
I
will
think
look
you might have a very long wait.
they will look into
But
a stricter laws and stuff like
but
that.
at the very least, if not to say something like that, because we all know the point of being up there is to gain the electorate. But if not that, then at least to encourage people to make healthier choices.
Yeah.
Healthier choices for your family,
Mhm.
which would have an effect on the society at large. Because even when we talk about alcohol consumption and the economic aspect of it, it affects us at the roots,
True.
at the family level. Because the people who consume a lot of alcohol, that money is coming from their paycheck.
That's true.
And that money that is going, that's been used to drink and to give drinks to friends, could be used to better nourish their children or to take care of things, provide a better shelter for your family and so on.
Yeah,
So
they always have plans.
yeah.
When I get the paycheck, I'll change the window or change the galvanize, and that never happens.
Exactly.
And their family, as you say, continues or has to continue to suffer because
Live
of
under very
that.
difficult
Yeah.
circumstances.
And I'm happy you transitioned it to the schools and the communities. We I mean, I'm not sure that happens, but our schools have to promote alcohol-free events, our communities as well. When children are involved, let's keep it an alcohol-free space for them.
At the very least,
at the very least.
we have to start somewhere.
Yeah, we have to.
We will not.
We have
We
to.
will likely not get everything done
Yeah, one time.
at one
Yeah,
time,
that's
but
true.
we can start somewhere. And those are some of the areas where it will not be probably too shocking and jarring, and that will bring so much resistance.
Yeah, and
so you start at the point of lowest resistance and you keep going up.
of course, and that for me the lowest resistance would be at the individual and family level, where I choose to make healthier choices for myself. So I'm able to choose. I choose. I should know my limit, and as you were saying, no one should force me, or I should not be pressured to want to impress anybody else. Two is my
Exactly.
limit. I'm done at two. I'm not making you comfortable because I know how free would affect me. So we have to make healthier choices for ourselves. Because the truth is, when we get probably those test results and those things, we are the ones to face, whatever is coming. We have the issue to deal with, the hangover or the absenteeism from work, the discipline, losing money at work. We are the ones who
And
deal
paying
with
the
that.
hospital
Paying the
bill if we end
hospital,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah. So from the smallest subset, me as an individual choosing to make healthier choices, and then I will influence my family, the people closest to me, that uh, I want you all here for a very long time. So, and I don't want the next gathering to be one that is not happy. So, I mean, let's control it.
Well, let's try it and
Let's
see
cut
and see
down
how
on
it
it.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's not reach to the point where we cannot. Yeah, we cannot be civil. We have to descend to a row or something like that. And because we are family, we are the ones depending on each other. And if we are truly honest as a people, a lot of families break up because of these social harms of alcohol.
Yes, because sometimes you find that the people who drink a lot of alcohol, their behavior changes drastically. Some people become very aggressive.
Very
So
aggressive.
then you end up in situations that are abusive within the household. And sometimes it's not just verbal, it's physical abuse
Yeah.
within families and the family in the home, and as you said, the extended family, because sometimes you have a large family gathering and you have several people who are so drunk that they get abusive, and then there you go.
Yep. So it's all of those things, and you see, we are not making up these things. We as a people observe these things. We see it in our communities. Probably we ourselves have seen the ugly side of alcohol abuse or excessive alcohol use. A lot of persons were not able to probably get to the fullest potential in school because a father couldn't provide the books or whatever they needed, and all of that. Um, so we have to make the choice. So I see somebody said there are a lot of watering holes, so
Yes,
we
the
take ourselves to
cabarets
the watering
everywhere.
holes. We
Yes.
take ourselves to those places. I don't think anybody forces us to indulge or overindulge in those things or lose
But
control.
sometimes, the mind is weak, and the environment is an enabling one for
Yeah, but not all of
drinking.
our minds are weak.
Not all, not
so
all, but
so
um,
even for us whose minds are not weak, we have to choose better. So if the change has to happen, I have to see that it happens with me first, and then I believe it will ripple into our families and our communities, um, and eventually St. Lucia will become a better place. We would raise our voices, not so much for our own protection, but for future generations. We could probably save generations if we take those steps, because we see how it has destroyed previous generations. So, I want to leave persons with the point that alcohol abuse, excessive alcohol use is a serious problem.
it is.
As you were saying, sometimes we joke about persons who struggle with these addictions. Um, but let's be compassionate, let's be kind. Some of these persons do not know where they can get help. If you visit your nearest wellness center, you ask them, they can direct you. Um, yeah, and for us who are able to choose, let's choose wisely. Um, let's choose things that would benefit us, knowing that not just us, but our families depend on us, our societies depend on us, so that we can live the best life we can.
Wonderful. So, Caleb, thank you for joining us. Now, our World No Alcohol Day is actually on the 2nd
Yes, 2nd
of October, which would be Thursday. Is there anything particular that you want to mention for Thursday, that maybe a little message specifically for Thursday, because we know we're starting small.
Yes.
And Thursday is the eve of the weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
I think October 1st is our holiday. Is that true?
Isn't it the 6th?
I'm not sure. But whatever the holiday is, choose to start there. If you're spending time with your family, yes, try alcohol free. Enjoy the experience.
And it, at the very least, for those who will say they cannot at least leave the high content alcohol out of it.
Don't go with so much.
So we're not trying to impress anybody with the expensive brands and whatever.
Yes.
You leave those out of it and have the.
So start from there.
Mm-hmm. At the very least, let us start from there.
Yes.
Okay. So Caleb has shared so much good information with us today. I hope that it reached some of you. At the very least, if we don't decide to completely stop, because we know many times that that is a process that has to take a process, that we will start to at least reflect on our own alcohol consumption and see how we can make changes and set goals for the reduction and elimination, for those of you who and eventually make it to elimination, to just get rid of alcohol from your life completely. So thanks again, Caleb, for joining us. I enjoyed having you in studio. It's quite different, having the person in studio as opposed to virtually. So it's nice to have him here in studio with us today. And thank you to those of you who joined us on the live, Miss Andre Jacqueline, Miss Jackie. She made a point here about supermarkets having to stop selling to school children. Whether it is, I think at that point we were probably talking about the energy drinks, but the energy drinks as well as alcohol, the shops, the rum shops, when we have our activities, to stop selling to children. Some of them, it's so obvious that they are underage that you can stop. And thank you also to Sheldon Lionel for your contributions to the program this morning. Thank you to Romanus and the staff at 88.5 for setting everything up for us, for making it so easy to just come in and have the program this morning. Thanks to all of you for joining us and listening in on this program. Remember, World No Alcohol Day is on Thursday the 2nd, and as Caleb mentioned earlier, October, apart from being the Journée Creole month, how we say it, Mois Héritage, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Journée Creole month, as we like to say, it is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So during the month of October, we will be having some programming to speak about breast cancer. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to you joining us again next week.
Bye-bye.
I learned that I was useless and no one likes me.
Today, in biology class, I learned that I was a geek.